Hey, you're really gonna like these books. Pick any one you want. Go ahead. When you've read all three, I'm gonna give you a special award. Ranger Reader of the Year.
In the desert, where it's hot and dry and the sun beats down, people kind of wonder why we don't fry when they come around. In the desert, where it's hot and dry and the sun beats down, people kind of wonder why we don't fry when they come around. And on the bottom of the sea,
we swim and we crawl there.
we're as salty as can be.
We live in the ocean.
And on the bottom of the sea,
We swim and we crawl there.
we're as salty as can be. trees, the fancy trees. They feed us and protect us and shade us with their leaves.
Congratulations! You've read all 3 books. You are the Ranger Reader of the Year.
My grandmother said, "Come with me and sit beneath this pepper tree. Listen and touch and smell and see. Who's to know why things should be?"
Amrita's trees. Palhano, welcome to Rajasthan, India. This is the story of how my mother Amrita Devi and the other people in our village helped to save the khajur trees in our beautiful forest. Los árboles de Amrita. Palhano, bienvenidos a Rajasthan, India. Esta es la historia de cómo mi madre, Amrita Devi, y otros vecinos de mi aldea ayudaron a salvar los árboles de nuestro hermoso bosque. We love our village and the forest which grows beside it. We love our village and the forest which grows beside it. We love our village and the forest which grows beside it. We love our village and the forest which grows beside it. Amamos nuestra aldea y el bosque que lo rodea. Amamos nuestra aldea y el bosque que lo rodea. Amamos nuestra aldea y el bosque que lo rodea. Amamos nuestra aldea y el bosque que lo rodea.
My people and I are Bishnoi, and we believe that every tree in the forest is special and should be protected. We need the trees because they protect us from the harsh desert wind and show us where to find precious water.
Nosotros somos Bishnoi y creemos que cada árbol del bosque es muy especial y debe ser protegido. Necesitamos de los árboles porque nos protegen de los fuertes vientos del desierto y porque nos enseñan dónde podemos encontrar agua.
The Maharaja needs these trees.
Please, oh please do not cut down our trees.
I must do as the Maharaja has commanded.
And I must follow my beliefs and protect the trees.
El Maharaja necesita estos árboles.
Por favor, no corten nuestros árboles.
Tengo que hacer lo que me ordene el Maharaja.
Y yo tengo que seguir mis principios y proteger a los árboles.
We have our orders. Get out of the way.
Tenemos nuestras órdenes. Apártense.
Stand aside.
Just then, the Maharaja saw what was happening.
Stop.
Quítense.
El Maharaja notó entonces lo que estaba pasando.
¡Alto!
From this day forward, your forest will be protected. Let us celebrate by planting new trees so that your forest can continue to grow and flourish.
Desde hoy en adelante su bosque será protegido. Celebramos este día sembrando árboles para que el bosque continúe creciendo y floreciendo.
We planted some trees and celebrated. Every year we plant more trees to help us remember that special day when we saved our forest by hugging the trees.
Sembramos árboles y los celebramos. Cada año sembramos más árboles para recordar el día especial en que abrazamos los árboles para salvar nuestro bosque. One day, Cerdito climbed up a high cliff. He was enjoying the view when he saw a large coyote following his trail. Un día, Cerdito subió por el acantilado. Disfrutaba del paisaje cuando de repente vio que un coyote muy grande seguía su camino.
Before you get closer, you'd better look up. See this big rock I'm holding? If I stop holding up this rock, the world will fall down. Why don't you take my place while I go and get help?
Antes de que te acerques, mira mejor hacia arriba. ¿Ves esa piedrota que sostengo? Si dejo de sostener esta piedra, el mundo te caerá. ¿Por qué no tomas mi lugar mientras yo voy a conseguir ayuda?
Before you get me, take a good look at what I'm doing. I'm keeping this water from flooding the whole valley. If we don't help each other out, we'll both be underwater. You take my place, and I'll see if I can find something to plug up the hole.
Antes de hacerme daño, mira bien lo que estoy haciendo. Impido que se inunde el valle con toda esta agua. Si no nos ayudamos, nos ahogaremos los dos. Toma mi lugar y yo veré si encuentro algo con que tapar el agujero.
I know you're hungry. Look at all of these eggs. These sure smell fresh. They'll taste much better than I
hate that pig.
Sé que tienes hambre. Mira todos estos huevos. ¡Qué rico huelen! Estoy seguro de que están mucho más sabrosos que yo.
Como odio este cerdo.
Thanks for helping me out.
Gracias por ayudarme.
Later that afternoon, Cerdito was wallowing in the mud near a large rock quarry. Once again, the persistent Coyote was coming his way. Cerdito had to quickly think of another trick. Esa tarde, Cerdito se revolcaba en el fango, cerca de una gran cantera. Una vez más, el terco Coyote se acercaba. Cerdito tenía que pensar rápidamente en otro truco.
You're really hungry, and I know something that will taste much better than I. Have you ever tasted cheese? There's some right in front of you in the water. Go ahead, try it. It's delicious.
I hate that pig.
Sé que tienes mucha hambre y conozco algo que te sabrá mucho mejor que yo. ¿Has probado el queso? Hay un poco en el agua enfrente de ti. Anda, pruébalo. Es delicioso.
Como odio este cerdo.
You better not come after me. My big brother is right over there.
favor, no te me acerques. Mi hermano mayor está ahí.
I hate that pig.
¡Cómo odio este cerdo! ¡Cómo odio este cerdo!
Climb on! Here we go!
Soon they were headed straight for a mountain.
Ouch! Ooh! Ah!
People now drive through the tunnel that Adelita and Bo made.
Hang on tight back there!
They crashed right into Pike's Peak. The coins from Adelita's pocket made the gold and silver mines of the Rockies. Adelita waded into the water to feed the fish.
Come and get it, fishies! Come here, Sharky Sharky!
The two of them swam around and around until they made a lagoon.
Woo-wee! Whoa! Slow down there!
Adelita and the whale crashed into the shore and made the Gulf of California. Adelita and Bo became friends with a lizard.
Hey, look at me! Oh, Bo, you show off! Come here, you ornery thing!
Old Razortooth and Adelita wrestled for 5 hours.
Truce? Come here, you rascally critters!
Adelita's footprints became the Florida Everglades. Adelita cooked up 5 whole potatoes.
These potatoes smell downright delicious. You ready, Bo?
Bo and Adelita ate the first French fries ever made.
Hey, Bo, pass the ketchup.
Adelita walked across Idaho eating raw potatoes. The eyes from the potatoes landed in the ground and grew into the potato fields of Idaho.
Catch any, Bo?
Adelita and Bo caught their own dinner. Adelita caught 32 fish on one hook.
That ought to be just about right. Don't you think, Bo? This sure seems like a good place to fish.
As Adelita pulled in her fishing net, she made the San Francisco Bay.
I sure do have a powerful thirst.
She drank the whole jug.
Sorry, Bo. Let's go get a jug for you. Bo, I'll show you how to make apple juice.
Adelita stacked up 40 crates of apples. Then she used a giant tree to squeeze out all of the juice.
Now, Bo, leave some for me.
Adelita squeezed the juice from the apples while she hiked. Those apple cores grew into the apple tree orchards of Washington State.
let's get us a drink at this beautiful lake.
The water was crystal clear and delicious.
Guess you were pretty thirsty there, Bo. Let's make some berry punch.
Adelita squeezed some berries into the lake. Of course, the lake is no longer red, but folks still call it Red Lake. Adelita took some water with her on her hike. She had the first drink from the Mississippi River. Far-fetched frontier tales. Adelita had a nice, long soak.
That's fine, Bo. Thanks. That's enough now, Bo. Bo? Bo? Look at this hot water. Think I'll build me a tub.
Folks still soak in her tub at Ringbolt Hot Springs. Adelita dug a hole by the Colorado River to make a giant bathtub. She drained the water and left behind the Grand Canyon. Adelita heated the water
Just right.
and had a nice, relaxing bath. Adelita was strolling toward the lake to bathe when she slipped in the mud.
Oops. Ooh.
She kept slipping until she finally gave up and had a mud bath in the enormous puddle she'd created. Adelita dug bathtubs for Bo, his friends, and herself, tossing the dirt over her shoulder.
This is pretty near perfect. Don't you agree?
Folks call those bathtubs the Great Lakes. Adelita sang as she showered.
Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama.
I'm gonna catch me that rain cloud.
Adelita squeezed the cloud and had a pleasant shower.
Yee-haw!
Adelita looked at the waterfall she just made and decided to shower. That's how the Niagara Falls were made. Adelita had a quick shower with Bo's help. Adelita was very adventurous.
Where shall we go to find our next adventure, Bo?
Adelita threw the water way up into the air. She waited 2 hours
Dum-de-dum-dum. Dum-de-dum-dum.
until it came back down. Then she took her shower. Adelita's walking stick sank into the ground and up shot a gush of hot water. Nowadays, folks call that geyser Old Faithful. Adelita curled up in a horse stable and went to sleep. Adelita slept in a horse corral under the twinkling stars. Adelita lay down on her bluegrass mat and fell fast asleep. Now Kentucky's known as the Bluegrass State.
A friendly frontier farewell to you all.
Adelita rocked herself to sleep in her favorite hammock.
This cotton's ready for picking.
Adelita sewed a gigantic mattress and stuffed it with soft cotton. Adelita formed some mounds of dirt.
That's downright comfy.
Adelita snored up a blanket of clouds. That's how the Great Smoky Mountains were made and named. Adelita and Bo relaxed on the coast of Oregon.
This is the life, Bo.
Adelita was as tall as the tallest tree and as strong as the strongest ox.
Watch this one.
Adelita and Bo skipped lava rocks at the edge of Crater Lake. That's how Wizard Island was made.
Hey, Bo, I'm gonna make a stove to heat my cocoa.
Adelita and Bo relaxed next to the volcano she just made. Of course, the volcano cooled off and is now called Mount Hood. Adelita relaxed by painting a Vermont landscape.
That's quite a picture, Bo.
Adelita worked on an abstract painting and splashed black paint all around her. The cows that were splashed with her paint are now called Holsteins. Adelita painted a forest scene. The fall color of the Vermont forest is one of Adelita's best works of art. Adelita was as tall as a mountain and as strong as a steam engine.
I'll race you down.
Bo soon took the lead.
Hop on, Bo.
The trees seemed to jump right out of their way, leaving behind a ski run.
Pass the trail mix, Bo. Whee!
They skidded through the middle of the United States and made the Great Plains.
Last one down the hill's a rotten egg.
Bo raced ahead.
No, where'd that bear go?
The Adventures of Adelita and Bo.
I'd like to tell you a story that happened a long time ago. It's a story about a girl named Adelita and her bear friend, Bo. Well, on this particular night, they had spent the night in Baja, California. They had slept long and well, and it was just beginning to be dawn. There was the barest hint of light, and there were birds beginning to sing. The sun began to rise. Oh, it was beautiful. There was just a little crescent of light above the mountain, and the rays of the sun shone all pink and purple and golden on the fluffy clouds. Adelita looked at the ocean, and the Pacific Ocean stretched out wide and smooth and sparkling before her very eyes. She couldn't wait. She jumped up and marched right to the water and stuck her toes in the surf. But Bo watched because he didn't much like salt water. She waded in further, and she could see her toes, and between her toes swam rainbow-colored fish. Little fish. But soon there came a bigger fish. A smiling dolphin swam right up to her and began singing a happy song, inviting Adelita for a ride through the waves. She jumped right on that dolphin's back, and off they went through the waves. She could see wonderful things, beautiful butterfly fish and regal angelfish and blue-spotted jewelfish and plants, a forest of seaweed. Oh, it was wonderful. The dolphin then returned her to the shore where Bo waits, pouting. He's hungry and lonely. So together they decide to hop on a stagecoach heading for Idaho. Bo loves potatoes. Soon as they jump off the stagecoach, Adelita digs for those potatoes, and she finds huge ones, big as 4 fists together. She sticks them in the hot coals and roasts them good, and soon they have a whole mess of potatoes. Are they good? But Bo's still a little out of sorts, and Adelita had seen bees buzzing around an old tree stump. Now, where there's bees, there's honey. Adelita crept up to the tree stump, scooped out a honeycomb, took it and gave it to Bo. Oh, was he surprised? He loves honey. He stuffed it in his mouth so fast that the honey dribbled down the side of his mouth, and an angry bee spied Bo eating the honey. He stung him on his nose. Oh, cries Bo. Now he's nursing his nose. Adelita hears the train whistle. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's the train headed east, far east, to Vermont. They jump on that train. Maple syrup is known to be a good bear cure for bee stings. When they get to Vermont, they head to the first maple tree to get sap to put on Bo's nose. Right away, it feels better. They began to look around to see what they can see in Vermont. It's fall in Vermont, and all the leaves are turning beautiful colors, reds and orange and yellows and purples. They rake up piles of leaves and jump into them. Crunch, scrunch, crackle. The leaves went as they played and made dust angels in the piles of beautiful fall leaves. What a way to end the day. What a wonderful adventure they had had. And I stepped on the nail bent, and that's the way the story went.
Long ago, when the frontier was mighty big, there lived a girl named Adelita. Adelita was mighty big, too. Why, she was as tall as a tree, and strong as an ox. Folks say that she could carry her pet bear Bo for 10 miles without getting tired. Those two sure had some fantastical adventures. One time, they were wandering in a swamp in Florida when an enormous alligator called out, "Adelita, folks say that you're as strong as an ox. Well, what I want to know is, are you as strong as an alligator?" "That's a good question," said Adelita. "I'm not sure. What say we wrestle?" "I'd love to," said that alligator. And he reared up out of the swamp, and he and Adelita grabbed hold of each other and began to wrestle. The problem was, they were both so strong that neither one could throw the other. They stood there, locked in combat for 5 hours before giving up and calling it a tie. Now, I don't know if you have ever wrestled an alligator in a swamp, but if you have, you know how stinky you smell afterwards. Bo got one whiff, and says, "Adelita, I think it'd be a good idea if we went off to Michigan so you could take a bath." Adelita sniffed herself and, she agreed. Now, the two of them had just about got to a nice, cool lake when, boom! Adelita slipped and fell on a muddy patch of ground. The more she tried to get up, the more she slipped. And the more that muddy patch of ground grew, Bo couldn't help himself. His mouth began to twitch. He began to chuckle. and a chortle. Well, finally, he ended up laughing so hard that he himself went whoop, boom, and landed right next to Adelita. Adelita got a big grin on her face, and she says, "Looks like we're both going to take a bath. A mud bath, that is." And she began smearing that brown muck all over her arms and squishing it between her toes. She and Bo took turns daubing the brown mud all over each other till they looked like two giant walking mud puddles. Couldn't see nothing but their bright eyes shining out of all that dull, wet earth. Afterwards, they dove into the lake and swam around until they'd washed the mud off. But by then, they were exhausted. They went to a field in Tennessee and picked all the cotton that was there till that field was bare. Adelita sewed up some sheets into an enormous mattress cover, and grabbing big wadfuls of that cushy cotton, she stuffed it inside, and then she and Bo lay back. Ooh, that mattress was as soft as a sheep's back, and soon Adelita and Bo were sleeping peacefully. Excuse me, telling that tale just plumb tuckered me out. I think I'm gonna go take a nap myself. Goodbye, and thanks for listening.
Greetings, boys and girls. I'm going to tell you a story about a girl named Adelita. Now, Adelita was a big girl. I'm talking real big, bigger than big. I mean, Adelita was the size of most mountains. She was so big that when she went to wash her feet, she had to go to a lake. And when she plopped those big feet into the lake, it took up the whole lake. I mean, her little toe was bigger than your school building. She was big. Now, Adelita liked to travel around North America having adventures and having fun. And she had a travel companion, her friend and pet, Bo. Now, Bo wasn't a little kitty cat. Bo wasn't a little doggy. Bo was a bear, and a big bear at that. He was almost as big as Adelita. Well, one day, they were sitting around thinking, well, what are we gonna do today? What kind of adventures are we gonna have? And then Adelita said, hey, let's take our sled and go on up to Canada and we can go sledding. And Bo said, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So they took their sled and started loading it up. Now what they loaded it up with was trail mix, so they could nibble and munch along the way. You know, all kinds of grains and seeds and things. And they started heading on up to Canada. And when Adelita took steps, they were big steps. Boom, boom, boom. A few of those steps, and they were almost up into Canada. Well, along the way, Adelita saw a really tall tree, and she looked and said, hey, that'll make a great walking stick. So she reached over and pulled it up out of the ground, and she used it for a walking stick. Now, when they got up to Canada, they started playing in the snow. They started having snowball fights, throwing these humongous snowballs at each other. Then they decided it was time to start sledding. So Adelita put Bo on the sled, and then she got behind and gave a vroom, powerful push, and they started flying through that snow. All of a sudden, they hit a patch of ice. The sled turned over sideways. Boom! They started going through the dirt. Started digging up all the dirt. Knocking over trees. They started sliding somewhere around what's now called North Dakota. And they didn't stop until they got to what's now called Kansas. Well, when the dust settled and they dusted themselves off, they turned around and looked, and all that earth had been dug up, and they had spilled all of their trail mix. That trail mix later sprouted, and that's why in the Great Plains you have these fields of wheat and fields of corn that sprouted up from that trail mix that Adelita and Bo spilled. Well, they laughed and they joked and they had a great time. And Adelita said, you know, I'm thirsty. The thing that Adelita loved more than anything else was apple juice. Now she knew that there was this place up in the left-hand corner of the United States, what's now called Washington, where they had these really great apples, the best apples on the whole earth. So they started heading up there. Boom, boom, boom. And a few steps like that, and there they were. Well, Adelita reached down, scooped up a whole mess of apples, and she started squishing them together and making apple juice. And she and Bo started drinking it. Oh, it was so good. And they started drinking it as they were walking around. And they took the crushed up apples and they just sort of threw them here and threw them there. And now, up in Washington, they have apples all over the state because Adelita and Bo spread those apple seeds everywhere. Well, after they drank all their apple juice, they decided they wanted to go and relax. So they went to what's now called Oregon. And there was this big mountain there. It's called Mount Hood. Well, they leaned back against that mountain, and Adelita had a cup with her, and she was thinking she wanted some hot cocoa. But where to heat it up? Now, Adelita was a smart girl, and she knew that down in the core of the earth, there was this hot substance called lava. So she decided she'd use that to warm up her hot cocoa. So she popped the top on that mountain and then used that walking stick and dug down in to where that lava came up. And she took her cup, plopped it down in there, let it heat on up. And then she and Bo sat back, drank hot cocoa, thought about the adventures they'd had, and thought about the adventures they were going to have later on. And that's the story of Adelita and Bo. And that's the end of that.
The Bridge of Generosity would be a most wonderful name for the bridge.
Perhaps now you understand why the Bridge of Kindness would be an ideal name for the bridge.
The Bridge of Perseverance would be a splendid name for the bridge.
Excuse me, wise traveler. But your reputation has preceded you, and we need your help. Our village is in a quandary. We are building an important bridge, and we must select a worthy name. 3 of our villagers have suggested names, each so fantastic that we are unable to decide on one. Please listen to each suggestion and make this important choice for us. Thank you, wise traveler, for your help. May all your days be filled with the adventure of learning.
Welcome. Do come in. This wonderful story inspired my suggestion for the name of the bridge. Here. I do hope you enjoy reading it as much as I have.
Please enter and make yourself comfortable. After reading this heartwarming story, I thought of an excellent name for the bridge. Please read it, and I am certain you will understand.
Hello, hello. Come in, yes, come in. My idea for the name of the bridge was sparked by one of the many messages in this delightful story.
Let us commemorate the Bridge of Generosity! Let us commemorate the Bridge of Generosity! Let us commemorate the Bridge of Kindness! Let us commemorate the Bridge of Kindness!